I don't know, 'cause I'm thinking about you and the way you kiss and run. Takes my heart when I see you, breaks my heart if I don't.
Folks, welcome inside the Parisi Palace, high above 3773's Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show. Coming to you on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app and stream all of our live local programming, including the Jake Feinberg Show. Can't thank you enough for making us part of your day today, and so happy to bring back a friend of the program. He's got fires all around him, but he's got a fire burning inside as well. Paul Stallworth, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Smoky day to you.
What is going on? You still have fires all around?
Yeah, coming out of Oregon and Northern California, eastern part. It's like bunches of them. Lightning strikes and the wind has been playing the old game of which way we're going to go today. Yeah.
Well,
along with temperatures of 102, it just makes it pretty miserable.
Yeah, well, believe me, we're cooking at triple digits every day here in Tucson. So, I don't feel bad for you in that respect, but I do want you to stay safe.
Yeah.
I wanted to just talk to you. I had an epic interview with this cat a few years ago. I just was hoping you could talk about what you think the legacy of a cat that you played with was Al Jarreau.
Oh. Wow. What a great experience that was. That was great. Quite a guy, a little simple, generous, hell of talented, hell of a talent. It was a great experience going out on the road with him, a little trio. Actually, a quartet with him. Tom Canning and Joe Carrero.
Tom Canning was on that tour as well, man. That guy, he's been hiding from me. I got to get to that cat as well. So it was. I mean, did he just pick you up? Was that a tour supporting the album that you were on with him, Glow?
No, We Got By.
We Got By.
It was his first album.
Wow. Yeah, We Got By, 1975. I mean, do you just, what was, I guess, what set him apart? What made him a luminary figure? I mean, was he different? Were his live shows inherently different than what was going on in the studio? We talked truth to power in our interview, but I mean, what made him a transcendent figure in your mind?
Oh, just he was an incredible singer. His percussive stuff he would do, and his imitation of an instrument, like what was that? It sounded like a flute. He had a vocal thing he did. It sounded like a flute. Yeah, you have to check out that album, We Got By. It's really a good album.
Oh, absolutely. Everything you do, Stallworth, it's danceable. I don't know if you caught that opening track coming in. That was a tune called
Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge, man. I mean, dude, before we get to Jorge, it says somewhere that you collaborated with Richie Hayward. Did you collaborate with that cat?
No.
From Little Feat? No, okay, I don't know why it said that. Jorge Calderon.
Yeah.
When did you cross paths with that cat? Because everything that you're on, again, this track we played, you did backup vocals, but can you take us through that? Because this is just an amazing album.
Yeah, Jorge was a good old friend. I mean, we used to jam together a lot back in Hollywood days, North Hollywood. We would do little gigs here and there, and he and I would always wind up somehow or another playing together at these little impromptu things. taking cover tunes and expanding on them. Jorge Akash. I wonder what he's doing. A lot of good people on that album. Willie Weeks and Smitty, William Smith. Tessie Calderon, that was his wife.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He's a real Latin influence.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it definitely has. I mean, in that Hollywood scene, we talked last time about the Jim Keltner fan club, but I mean, where else were you hitting? Were you playing at the Baked Potato? Where were you guys like stretching out and just having fun? Because so many of the cats, like, you know, guys that preceded you there, Emil Richards, Keltner to a degree, Ernie Watts. I mean, they'd be in the studios all day, and so they were making good dough, and then they'd go out at night and just play for free. But I'm just curious about like what were the venues that where you were cooking the groove?
Well, I was kind of like when I first got to LA, it was I came there with a group that was on the road with a cat named Round Robin, Land of a Thousand Dances. And when we broke away from him, we became this group called Gumbo, which was basically the rhythm section and the backup singer from the Round Robin group. So we got to LA. We just started doing little gigs here and there with some little booking agency called McConkey. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm remembering these names. And they booked us around in little clubs, bars and gay bars and whatever. And soon we kind of got bored with that, got rid of our drummer and wound up with another drummer that we got through Sly and a harmonica player. So during that period of time, we actually just played little bars and stuff, no big name clubs, and a lot of private party things. As a matter of fact, one of the first times I met David Foster, he and I and a percussionist and a steel drum player named Robert Greenwich, we did a couple of gigs together for these people in Beverly Hills, private parties, film people. And that's about what I did, you know, and maybe a couple sessions here and there with some unknown folks until later on it started picking up a little bit. And then when I met Jim, started working with some other people, with the Bobby Womacs and oh my gosh, a lot of people that came through the record plant. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got a lot of work out of the record plant.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it seems to me like, I'm looking here, Mother Records, the Snarf Company, Get on the Right Track, Round Robin and the Soul Rascals. You're not going to get away this easily, dude. I mean, first of all, there's no tracks on Google, there's no tracks on YouTube with this band. Who was the drummer, by the way? I mean, I know Rico played with Sly, and I know Frosty played with Sly, but who was the drummer?
There's a guy named Art Abodili.
Art?
And
wow.
Yeah, I think the last time we talked, I told you about the gunfight at the OK Corral.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that was with that drummer.
Oh, he was like some sort of Persian descent or something, or they thought he was, or is that what it was?
Yeah, so he definitely was. And hell of a guy, wiry guy. Always, he was really into Greg and Rico. So it gives you an idea. He was really into it. We bought Ghost pedals, bass pedals, and because that's what he was using at the time, and so that big quick action. But yeah, he was a great drummer, strong, like those hard guys to find, and hungry. You know what I mean? Hungry drummers.
Well, I mean, I think hungry is such a pertinent word. I want to play you this tune, and because it's just got some serious hooks to it. And I want to find out what contributions. I want to know exactly what you were doing on it. So let's take a listen to it, and we'll come back.
Okay. Haven't heard that in a while.
I mean, dude, is that you singing?
Yes, it is.
Stallworth, man. I love you, man. Thank you so much for being alive, man. That is I mean, dude, I don't know how. I mean, again, I mean, you're reaching a serious octave there, man. You're telling, like, that was just natural, ingrained, like, because it's funny, I just connected with this guy, Norm Harris, Norm's Rare Guitars, and we did a podcast on Little Beaver. I don't know if you ever knew that cat. He was a soul guitarist out of the Miami area, and he used to have these sort of, like these high shrieks, James Brown kind of stuff. But I mean, did you have to work on getting into that high octave range, man? Because this stuff is just. By the way, that was You and I Are So in Love. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a black cat. I mean, you're playing. You're doing it though.
I'm not a what?
I mean, you're not Marvin Gaye, you know. You're not Curtis Mayfield, but I mean, you're.
No, but they are some of my favorite people. Well, you know, it's funny because when we cut those tracks, we did them in. This is the first album, which was part of the ones where I told you we spent a lot of time. Me and Kiefer spent a lot of time in the studio doing editings and splicing and stuff. But when we got these tracks done, we were listening to them. We thought, we need to get a singer because we didn't have a singer. That was the only element we didn't do because everything basically was done instrumental until it came time to do the overdubs. So I guess in that room of five, kind of all looked at me and thought I got elected to sing them, which was pretty scary. And so outside of just, singing in the shower and singing along with the radio, I got elected to sing those tunes. And fortunately, Danny Cooch had tunes of his that he sang, so That was great.
He absolutely did. I mean, I've never been able to find the second album. I mean, is it different? Is it similar? Or is David Foster more at the forefront? I mean, you're all over the first album, singing wise.
Oh my God! So you haven't heard the second album, huh?
Well, I've heard the tracks on YouTube, but I only listen to vinyl, so it's like, I mean, I found the original Attitudes album on Dark Horse, and I was like, I mean, I just trying to piece it together in my head, but then I started I just put it on, so I just don't have the vinyl copy of that one. But that one, I'm just trying.
I had to get one from, I think, Amazon.
Yeah, right.
Myself. Hold on, I got to switch phones with you here. Mine's dying here.
No problem. Yeah. Talking to Paul Stallworth here, an amazing bass player, and as we just heard, a serious vocalist as well. Are you back with us? Yeah,
I'm back.
Can you talk about this? When you talked about playing in this band, and you used the word "we do total freestyle." I mean, were you just saying you just play? What does that mean in this current outfit that you're playing with?
With the current outfit?
Well, you said you have a band now that you play with, and you said we just play total freestyle. I didn't know exactly what you meant.
Oh, yeah, it's just some guys that basically have instruments, and every once in a while when they're not working or something, we get together in a little community center or something, and we start playing. And freestyle meaning just, like we're setting up, and everybody's getting plugged in, tuning up, and somebody will start something. Usually, sometimes it's me, but usually I like to wait for a drummer. As the drummer starts doing something that's sequential, I immediately am on top of it. And so from there it goes on. And freestyle meaning that there's no set thing. It's not even a piece that we know. It's just jamming, basically. But jamming with me, I like to go not just jamming on one chord. I like to take it into different colors and modes and time signatures, and then you wind up maybe 20 minutes later, and all of a sudden you all stop at the same time. and it's beautiful. It's totally organic,
Well, you're nailing this because that's jazz, isn't it? I mean, it's leaving the head of
in a way it definitely is. Yeah, I would say so, because it's free, and in the unencumbered mode of it, where we don't actually have a head. A lot of times in tunes with guys that I've played with in jazz, you got the head and the tail, and the body, and so you always go back to the head, which would be the key signature of that instrumental piece, and then you establish that, and then you go off into the void. So yeah, I guess it's like jazz. It's very much like jazz, free jazz.
Did I just want to read you this quote I did with I know you're not playing stone jazz gigs, but this is from Tootie Heath from a few months ago, Albert Tootie Heath. He said, "The foot is not used anymore like it used to be. When you played 4 on the floor, it means you play 4/4 time with the bass drum. Nowadays, because of Tony Williams and Elvin, Roy Haynes, they influenced other drummers to leave the foot out. Max Roach left it out too, but Kenny Clark was one of the original drummers that used to have the foot sound. Art Blakey had it and Philly Joe had it. You could hear the difference when they played ensemble stuff. The foot would always be going because the bass player has to be able to hear what the drummer's foot is doing, 4 beats to the measure. If he can't, then you can't lock in on a rhythm to make a nice cushion for the soloist." So he goes on and on and on.
And he's talking about jazz?
He's talking about jazz, and and then when things kind of moved into more polyrhythmic or rock-oriented stuff with Tony and Elvin, they influenced other drummers to leave the foot out. I want to know about when you were playing the trap set, tell me about the Paul Stallworth foot.
Well, when I played with these trios, like jazz trios, that would be my whole approach too. I'd leave the foot out. The foot would be an accent, like dee 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 boom 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 instead of boom 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? So it would be like space for the bass drum, and you would, I consider it like dropping in here and there.
Can you talk about that rebound effect and how it opens how it doesn't make the music stiff or compressed, how it opens it up?
Well, just the space that it allows, like we were talking about Miles and the notes you don't play. Pretty much is how it opens up. Because when you do the synchronized bass drum thing, like fours, that takes up space. And I'm thinking, I guess, more like in really swing jazz.
Exactly.
You hardly ever use the bass drum. I mean, it's not predictable. Let's put it that way. It's not a predictable pulse. So it gives it that airy, light feeling, and I like it because it's like bass also. Every once in a while, when you drop that thing in there, hopefully it hits you right in the solar plexus, and you feel that that good thing.
When did you? What album? I'm looking at your discography. It says that Bobby Womack. There's an anthology from 2003. But when did you actually go in the studio with him and record?
Oh my God! Somewhere in the mid-'70s, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, because just for the record, it's Rory Block, Sam and Dave, J.D. Souther, Niles, Jarreau, Ringo, Brian Russell, Jorge, Eric Mercury, Harrison, Rankin, Tommy Bolin bass. You were everywhere, man. It just sort of a jack of all trades kind of mentality there. Was there ever a time? Was there any type of music, or like I remember the great story about Katie Lied with Steely Dan, where Jeff Porcaro, the late great Porcaro, he couldn't get the shuffle beat together on, I think it was the title track, and he walked around the block and came back and he nailed it. And I'm just trying to, what was the most humbling experience you ever had? Any music, any type of genre of music or studio experience that you really had to woodshed to figure it out?
Not really woodshedding. One of my really, I guess, embarrassing times was I was visiting some friend up in Denver a long time ago, and I think he was running for governor or something at the time, and he took me to this little jazz club, and it was just about to close down, and I had an itch. I wanted to play, but I didn't want to play bass, so they let me set in on drums. So we played a couple tunes, and then just as closing out the last tune, they called up a special guest star in the audience, and it came out. It was my hero of all time, Jaco Pastorius.
Wow.
And he came in and said, and that's what I said, wow. My wrist got stiff. Oh my God, what the hell? Where am I? And so we started off this tune, I guess, what was it called, 5 or something like that? I just barely knew the tune, but with Jaco, if you ever Jaco's style, man, he likes that stuff really snap, up, dep. And if you're not at least an edge, inch ahead of the beat, it's not aggressive enough for him at that time. And so I remember we stopped. He would stop the tune because it wasn't happening. He actually stopped it twice, and I thought it was because of me. So I just got, in my 6'4" frame, I just automatically went down to about 5'2". The sticks looked like telephone poles.
Oh man.
Oh, it was scary. I don't know how we made it. We made it through, and then when finally he closed out by himself doing his bass solo of America, and that was not only what a great experience, but that was just extremely frightening. I was so.
It's
so
amazing.
I played at Madison Square Garden in a lot of places, but that little old club, I felt the smallest ever in my life.
No, it's so funny you bring this up because, like I said, I was doing this podcast on Little Beaver, and the first track that Jaco ever recorded on was this album with Little Beaver, and Beaver thought his last name was Patron. So on the back of the album it says Jaco Patron. But if you listen to the, I mean, again, but you know, we could pick this up in part 3. But you look at Jaco, and he came. You didn't know this before, but he was just such a shy, modest cat, and explosive player. And then the drugs got into him, and it became a bit of a narcissistic thing, and he really tumbled downhill. And I just say to myself, you know, he's gone now, but you're not, you know, like you're still with us, you know. And I say to myself, yeah, you know, maybe you got humbled in that club, but I think there's probably more for you that pain on your palate musically, man. I mean, that's what I believe. And I mean, do you think that in today's world, you just show up at a convention, not a convention center, but you show up at a YMCA or a place of public and you just start playing? Is that kind of just what you're doing now with this band?
No, I'll tell you, it's not even a band. It's like it's just a group of people that are players, you know, that they do farm work and whatever else they do, and we see each other at the general store occasionally and go, hey, how you doing? Hey, you feel like jamming? Oh, yeah, okay, well, call me. And they may not call until, you know, 6 months later. It's really loose. Although there was one group earlier, about 10 years ago, we actually saw each other more than, you know, 3 times a month. And we would do radio shows and stuff. It was called Pungent Funk.
Pungent Funk. I need to hear some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was another one of those things. I mean, we probably only knew together 10 tunes. Because these guys came from a whole other genre, you know, of just straight rock. They'd come up with names I'd never heard of. But we'd pick out some tunes that we mutually knew. And it turned out to be about 10. We'd make those 10 tunes last all night, one way or another. And then, you know, some other free-flowing stuff, nameless stuff. But we would take a tune and, what's that one? There's this tune these guys did out of, I can't think of the title right now. Anyway, it's one of those popular tunes, country tunes. We'd start off with that country tune, and the next thing you know, we'd go off into some other universe with it and land about 25 minutes later. And we'd have dances out there the whole time, you know, just not knowing what it was, but just in the groove, you know, in that slot. And then we'd come back to the head of the tune maybe and end it. And next thing you know, 3 hours later, we forgot to take a break. I mean, you know, it was just a real big passion thing just to play.
Absolutely.
And I haven't seen those guys now in years. They're kind of still around somewhere, but it's not. It wasn't really, you know, a formed band. Although we would give it names. You know, another little group I had for a minute was called Tabasco with a K.
How do you spell it?
Tabasko.
Wow. I was going to say...
Wow, we were playing some hot stuff.
This one thing I want to pick up on is next time is Round Robin, Kick That Little Foot Sally. Is that a tune you played? Or, well, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out when you joined him.
I joined him right after he had the hit Land of a Thousand Dances.
Land of a Thousand Dances. And did you actually get in the studio with him too?
Not with that tune, but I went with him when we did that Get on the Right Track.
Get on the Right Track.
Yeah, that was with, I forgot what label that was.
Well,
But the guy that played Stymie in the Little Rascals, he was the producer.
Was it Felix Cavallari?
No. Oh my God, it's tipped my tongue. I'll think of it in a minute, or maybe I won't. But anyway.
Well, listen.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, this is important. I mean, part of it's jogging the memory, but yeah, man. I Stallworth. Let's let me get this copy out to you, and let's set up a time to do part 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And if you have anything electronically that you can send where you're playing drums, I would love to hear you on the trap set. I mean, I know you're not going to send me that Jocko track, but if you have stuff on drums, I would love to hear you play. I'd love to hear you on the trap set.
Okay, yeah, I think I have a couple that I did produce in the studio myself. It's brought in some other musicians, where I'm playing drums and bass, and probably a little guitar too.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I'd love to.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah, it'd be a good chance to hear it.
well, listen. So send it to me. You got my emails, right? So send me. I mean, I'll send you this latest installment, and then send back some electronic tracks, and then we'll plan for part 3, and we'll do a little bit longer sesh.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. And hopefully it'll be cooler here, so I can. My brain, I feel like I'm mush right now.
I know. You know. You're a little bit. I'm gonna have to cut out the pauses in your speaking. So hopefully the humidity and the wind and the fire will just go away. Get down to that general store for something, dude. You know. Yeah. Later on, Stallworth. Much love, man.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
Stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And we'll be right back with Dean Brown on the Jake Feinberg Show right after this.